Yo, well, what's up, YouTube? This your boy Alson. Um, I'm just making this video as a social commentary of the state of society right now. Um, Basically, I'm making this because I'm sure that we all notice that our nation isn't really focused on our social well-being as much as we like. And before I keep going, I wanted to make a disclaimer that I'm not saying that I have all the truth or that I'm completely 100% correct, but I do have quite a unique perspective, and I would like to share it with you all. Um, I guess my main issue with the our nation is that they are more focused on like things like conquest and money and resources. Um, while many of us are struggling here inside the country, and I think that does a disjustice to people who actually may have want to come to the country to the future or born in here in the future as well. Um, I also wanted to comment on the state of the spiritual community. Um, I see a lot of people who are having a lot of trouble just trying to be themselves, not just with their peers, but even within the spiritual community itself, because there's a lot of mental illness and bad actors inside any community, really, and it it really has to be addressed to some extent. Otherwise, I feel that the community will continue to degrade, especially with like the social and political atmosphere that we have in our nation right now and around the world. And I also wanted to say that I do feel like our nation and even YouTube is going in a positive direction for the most part. But I do feel that some people are just being copycats, like to put it bluntly, and that they aren't really adding as much as they think to the atmosphere online. And that's not a criticism towards them, at least not destructive. It's more constructive. I would love to see more constructive people making content. And I understand that it's natural for people to copy each other. Like animals in nature do it all the time, and even to survive. I guess my biggest thing in saying that is I feel that more leaders should be showing up on platforms like YouTube, especially since I feel like that is going to be the final frontier of the people versus the state, if you will. Um, I do find it funny how a country built on things like free speech and freedom from oppression could become the very thing that it stood against once upon a time. And that's one reason like I'm making this video, like as one of the many leaders in our communities. I feel that we should be speaking up against such things, especially if we feel that they're doing something wrong. But wrong can be such a Final word. I feel that we still have plenty of time to turn things around, and I don't think that I would still be here um, contributing if I didn't feel that we had a chance. But obviously, there's a problem if I'm making social commentary videos like this. But it's not something that is hidden. I'm pretty sure that we all see the problems. And it's just gotten to the point that we've all become also the problems and also complacent to the problems. So I feel that we are being suckered into um, rolling with this agenda, even though we don't agree or we don't even benefit from it as much as we think. And it is unfortunate that I see a lot of people leaning towards this mindset instead of becoming more free thinkers and I don't want to say off grid, but I would say independent people, people who can make up our own minds. And when we see corruption, we can stand against it. I'm not saying this is everyone, but from what I saw, like not many are on that level, unfortunately. However, to be fair, I will say there are so many directions and avenues that really need attention that it would be quite difficult for any of us to actually hit as many key points in our civilization as we would like to. But unfortunately, we can't really use that as an excuse anymore. Um, the more technology will evolve, the more we will have a need to evolve with it and actually become better than the machines. As the saying goes, a tool is only as good as the one who uses it. So we have to be very careful for pushing for more and more technological advancements and not necessarily pushing more advancements in society. Like, I think that will eventually lead us to like a crater or a hole in our fundamental aspects of society. Um, and I'm not saying like the AIs are going to take over or something like that. What I'm really saying is that there will be people who who can buy the AIs and who can afford the best ones, and eventually, like I feel that a certain portion of us we will either start rejecting technology or we will just become bottom feeders for technology. And I'm not saying this to be offensive or anything. I do understand that some people have limitations and I respect that. So I'm more talking to the people who are able to um, effectively change some things in society. Um, and don't get me wrong, I protested before. I know like it's incredibly hard, but that's kind of the point here that human interaction, like protesting, maybe should be more fruitful. And maybe the reason it's not more fruitful is because of technological advancements, as it can put a lot of cognitive dissonance between regular people, especially ones who are in higher social positions than others. Now, now that we got that out the way, I guess I could be a little bit more honest about myself and say that even though I made great strides in like the technological field, I feel like that I haven't really achieved as much as I could have or that I should have. I guess I have a lot of empathy for other people, and I feel that if we could get a lot more people on equal footing, that society would look a lot different than it does right now. But that's a huge job, and like it takes a lot of resources. Um, if I really had the time, like I would really dedicate all my time to pursue the things that I think would um, improve society so we can evolve faster. Um, so I'm not saying that like if you're not doing nothing, then you're contributing to the problem. I'm only saying that the problem has become so exacerbated, and not only that, but people who don't have our best interests at heart are actually pulling us down with them to the point where, as you can see, like a lot of people are pushing back against society to the point where I don't think we've even, well, we've seen pushback, but I don't know if we've seen it to the degree that we've seen it today, at least in a bunch of isolated incidents, you know, from exposure from classified documents to protests against bureaucracy and the military decisions. So I do feel that we have a chance, but time waits for no man, as they say. So I won't be the one who just sat back when I saw people throwing their livelihood away to protest people who they never met, who they probably will never meet, but they understand that we have a commonality and they understand that they aren't innocent in this, and that if they were to do something, that maybe, just maybe, they could inspire change. Again, like I want to say that I don't want to demonize like government. I don't want to encourage like anti-government extremism, but I do want to encourage like the public free thinking, and not only that, but us being involved in political aspects of what our nation are doing, especially around the military. I strongly feel that people may have the wrong misunderstanding about things like why we pay taxes and things like that. It's not so the government can take care of us. It's a social contract between us and a government. And if one person doesn't hold up their end of their contract, then of course there'll be retribution. But I haven't seen much retribution around the government not holding up their end of the bargain. But I do see a lot of retribution for when we don't hold up our end of the bargain. And I feel that's like a big problem in society right now because not a lot of people will address that. So this part would be mostly on the spiritual community. Um, as I said before, like I saw many spiritual people not being able to express themselves how they would like to. The social and just even political pressure seem to put a lot of weight on how we express ourselves in society. And I guess that keeps a lot of us from actually spreading our wings. Me personally, I went through a lot of intense spiritual experiences in a short amount of time, which really it took away a lot of my anxiety around like what people would think of me and things like that. I really became one of the best versions of myself because of that, though, as I'm not afraid to say a lot of the things that I think. But that's not always common in the spiritual communities. There are a lot of people who just go with the flow and are probably caught in maybe more traditional and restricting areas of spirituality. I was really hoping to bridge a lot of that with a lot of the things that I was working on, but it proved to be a lot more difficult than I thought. Um, a lot of spiritual experiences here can be seen as mental illness and things like that. Um, like me, I see a lot of things, and it was only my recent doctor that I saw told me that people, um, even ancient people, use herbs and stuff to induce spiritual visions. And I never done any like psychedelics or anything, so I do feel privileged to have seen the things that I saw, as it was not normal. And I feel like only people who've done years of meditation and become like a yogi master and master their kundalini are the ones who actually see a lot of the things like I saw. So I understand, but I'm I guess I'm really pushing for a disclosure of spiritual experiences. Like, I think this website one of my buddies introduced me to Unhidden. You can look that up. They actually go into a lot of what I was just talking about with like stigma around like UFOs and things like that. But it's mostly based around Britain. But it really gave me a lot, even more insight, and to see that I'm not the only one out here pushing for like more disclosure and more mental health efforts towards those people who've had those types of experiences. So to to close this commentary out, like I just want to give you a general idea of like why am I even worried about society in the first place. Mm, I guess I guess it started when I was 20. I I left the military and decided to pursue my spiritual goals, and that gave me a lot of time to actually put a lot of things together that didn't make sense at first. I didn't understand how uh, a government can be corrupt or partially corrupt, but also be in charge of millions of people. Like the saying goes, you can fool some of the people some of the time, and or rather, some of the people most of the time, and most of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And I guess like what we're seeing now is the consequence of that. Like they definitely are fooling quite a few people, from what I'm seeing. But there are a few like us, and they see that a lot of this is more of a puppet show than it really is real politics. For me, like what I've seen from it, it seems like the system wants to do whatever it wants. You know, it doesn't really care who is in the seat of power as long as the system can do as it pleases. There was another quote, but I can't really remember where it came from. But it went something like, um, um, America always does what it wants. The only thing that changes is the politicians, which when I first heard it, like I really agreed with it. And even to this day, I still do agree with that. Um, there are just a lot of things that are yet to be addressed, and it seems like it will be a while before we see any real um, consequence, as I said before, for the things that we know that um, people in power have done, yet, you know, it seems like they have diplomatic immunity when it comes to certain things that they do, which we all know it only goes so far, really. And that's one reason I'm kind of worried. Like, like Donald Trump, for example, like that really taught me a big lesson because before like he re-ran for office, I was under the impression that you can't really be under an indictment and under investigation and you can still run for president. Like like I don't even think you can be a CEO and have a criminal record like he does and still hold the position of CEO. So I do find it very strange that he can hold the position of president with all that's going on with him. Um, I'm not gonna go too much into that. You know, I will just say that no, I am not a Trump supporter, and I never was really. I am quite concerned about the amount of people who still support him. But I'll just leave it at that for now. Another thing that's been worrying me is the amount of people who buy into conspiracy theories. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's a delusional community. I'm saying that it may be dangerous with how fast the conspiracy theory community is growing. Um, and I'm just saying that because, like, eventually we're gonna have to address it. Um, like, I think in the past 5 years, I've seen more conspiracy theories than I've seen in the past 10, really. And I guess that's what's really worrying me about that. I see even like prominent figures, like besides like the usual woke celebrity or a politician, actually discussing conspiracy theories and bringing it to the forefront, which is good because where there's smoke, there's fire. And a conspiracy is only a theory because it's unproven. As we've seen before, a lot of these conspiracies actually have been shown to be true. And not only that, not only are they true, but they were exactly what a lot of conspiracy theorists were saying that it was before it was exposed. So I can't really say that we should stamp down on that, but maybe we should become more concerned, not just for the people getting sucked into conspiracies, but like for yourself, because obviously some of these conspiracies are real. And if some of them are real and it's being hidden, like to what extent and to what end will we allow conspiracies to be planted and used against us? So I'll just end this out with saying, like, don't take this as, the inspiration to become worse or, delve deeper into isolation. I really feel that we should be together during this time, but only to the point where we can watch each other's backs, really. And to some extent, that's common sense, really, but I feel that these days common sense is becoming a bit less and less common as we progress through these ages. Especially when it comes to like things like bureaucracy, etiquette, um, even economy. Like I've been on YouTube and I've seen people who like literally don't even understand like how the economy works. So, and I'm not making fun of them, but like it really baffled me to see someone who I'm assuming was over the age of 18 and they still don't understand that the economy it runs on a sort of counterintuitive a counterintuitive line where the the less money people hoard, the better the economy, in theory. So I just encourage people to, do their due diligence and don't just listen to what your favorite celebrity or politician says, which I know can be hard. I myself have been a victim of this, of listening to someone I thought had it all together, and it can be very easy, especially when you don't have everything together. But I guess that's it for now. Thanks for listening, y'all.